Alright guys, so just getting started on this. I kind of figured out, because these cabs hang over the back end of this, to be able to get this back piece off, because I want to get this off because it gives me more room to get the fan mounted and everything. So what I figured out is you pull all 4 bolts out, and then I was able just to put 2 pieces of wood there in here that lifted it high enough to give me enough room underneath there, so I should be able to pull this back panel right out, slide it right out once we get these bolts out. They're kind of hard to get to, but if you use the extension piece, what I figured out works really good is a swivel and a extension going through here, and then you can get to pretty much all of them. I haven't tried the bottom one yet to see, but in a minute we'll have this off. And this back piece here is just 2 big bolts that you pull out to get, which are over here. And then I'm going to replace these. These are the what they use for washers, and all these did is when they bolt them down, left all these sharp edges sticking up. So I'm just going to throw these out and put some actual washers in there. So I'll go ahead and finish getting this back panel off, and then we'll start figuring out how we're going to get the fan on. We got to drill some new holes to be able to mount that, and then figure out the whole ceiling problem with the seat. So we'll get started on that right now. Alright guys, so here's the fan. Now the fan I ended up getting, instead of it blowing outwards when it's mounted like this, it actually blows air backwards. So it's going to be sucking air from the outside, blowing it in, and then I'm just going to try it anyways. To be honest, with all this big hole here and then having the vents on that side, there's no way for it to pressurize this to be able to shove it up through there. So as long as I seal that up good, and then it's going to be bringing air in and then blowing right on the motor. So hopefully it'll make this thing run maybe a little bit cooler. So I just got to drill the 4 holes out here so we can get it mounted there, and then I'll figure out if what I'm gonna tie into, because there's a switch in here. Doesn't seem to do anything. It ties into the fan up here, but no matter what, if you flick it on or off, it doesn't turn anything off, and I can't figure out anything else that turns on. So I'm thinking about just tying into this, and then this switch will run this fan, because there's already a switch mounted here. So like I said, I can't figure out what the heck it's running to. So I figured if I just splice into that, run off this switch, that should run the fan. If not, I'll just probably drill another hole into this and then mount a switch here for it. So we'll figure that time when it gets there. So for right now, we just need to drill the 4 holes, get that mounted on there, and then we'll either run new wiring right up here to the battery, or like I said, run in that switch. So I'll get started on that. Alright guys, got it in there now. Oh, tires in there. Got it all mounted. I ended up having to drill 2 holes, because these 2 up here, and then this one just through the air vent, I was able to just put a bigger washer on the outside of it. Be just fine. So all we have to do now is just get it wired up. So that's what I'm going to figure out now, if I want to go from right here up to there. So we'll do that right now. Alright guys, got it all wired up now. So found out this switch really doesn't go to anything. So more than likely it's because every model of these comes with something different, and they probably use 1 harness. So instead of making multiple harnesses, they just make 1 single harness. So this just, I guess, had an extra switch, because it absolutely didn't go to anything. So what I did is I ended up wiring it, hot wires, the red, over down to, I'll have to go in the back. I ended up wiring it into this one right here, which is hot, the green, which then also runs to this fuse right here. So it does have an inline fuse with it. And then just ran it down here to the power of the fan, and then grounded the fan out right there on the bolt to the that goes through to hold the fan on. And now flip the switch on, and when I flip this, it kicks on, and it blows pretty good. So now I have a switch for it. I was going to wire it in so when you turn this on it would go, but just in case I ever forget to turn this off, which if that was going you would know to turn that off, but I figured it's a switch that's not being used. So now I'm going to figure out, I wanted to see if I can put some of that heat stuff in between here. I gotta maybe fill this around this neck, because this is another gaping hole right here. And plus it'll help keep the heat from coming up into the cab too. Be nice to calm that down a little bit more, which hopefully having that fan blowing, circulating something to push the hot air out, it should make a big difference. But I'll go ahead and start figuring that out, and then once I do, we'll come back. Alright, one thing I forgot to point out, this service panel that goes right here for your battery and the pump motor for the excavator to be able to rotate is extremely hard to get out with the cab on. And it's because it goes underneath this rim down there and underneath on that side. So what I did is I cut the corner of this off. So that way when it because what was happening is you would slide it this way and it would hit right here. So I took that corner out, and then I was able to, it still kind of fights you getting in, but you can get it in, get it out. The way it was, I actually had to grab it from the middle and bend it until this turned to like a U shape until I got it high enough, and I had to pull all this trim off, and then I was able to get it out. So, but for right now, I'm gonna get that back in. I got that insulator all the way around the whole entire seat now, and it seals. And then I stuck some around the right here where the cap is at and filled that hole in right there, and then all the little holes are already filled. So we'll go ahead and get the service panel on there, and then I haven't done the exhaust yet, but I want to start it and see what the difference is now, see if there's a big difference or not. And then after that we'll do the exhaust and get the exhaust ran all the way to the bottom. Still figuring out if I want to run some kind of flex pipe. Maybe I can run flex pipe and bend it down through inside there and back out. We'll see. So for right now, we'll go ahead and get that back in, and we'll get this thing started and see what it's doing. Alright guys, you can see that reads 0 now. So we'll go ahead and fire this thing up and see what it does. Alright guys, I fired this thing up and let it run for a little bit, and then I stuck that in there. And having this insulation underneath the seat right here, and having what holes blocked off, didn't matter if the fan was on or off. As long as I leave that window open, it'll stay around like 14, 15, which is fine. If I shut the window, after a couple minutes it'll creep up to like 60, 70, and that's when I kind of just cut it off. I'm gonna try to extend the exhaust pipe and see, but I know for a fact there's no way, unless I pulled this thing completely apart and went through everything, because there's stuff like, you can see daylight right there on that side. So I know there's no absolute way, but if all I gotta do is leave the window open, I'm probably fine with that. But I want to see if I extend it, if I just slip something on the exhaust and put it out farther, if that makes a difference, because that might be the difference that I have at the moment. But as it sits right now, I can use it just fine. Just got to have the window open. And all I did is use that heat insulation and put it around the whole seat bracket, and that way you can still open it and work on the motor if you put gas in it and stuff like that. but now it just sits on top. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and try to put something in the exhaust and see if that makes a difference. But like I said, as it sits right now, it's okay it's be probably fine to drive. You just gotta leave that window open. Now in the middle of the winter, it may suck, but it may not, because there's still heat that comes up inside this thing. So it may be fine with that window open in the winter time. We'll see. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Alright guys, I might have just found the problem. I've never seen anything like this. See the tip? This is the exhaust tip right here. All that does is screw to the freaking tin of that. Let me grab a flashlight. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But basically, they just have that just screwed onto the heat shield for the muffler. And it's not even touching the actual exhaust itself. So it's probably not even all the gases are probably not even going out. Alright. You guys can see the gap between the heat shield and that. There was probably about maybe a little bit less than a half of an inch, or maybe a half-inch gap between the end of that pipe touching the other pipe. So it's probably just bouncing off and going right back in and right back in to the inside here. So I'm gonna get this heat shield off, and we're gonna make a new exhaust that comes out and down. Hell, just having this piece off might make a massive difference. But instead of just going through, because normally this is how they are. If they don't have a cab, I noticed that they have this type of exhaust if they don't have the cab on it. But this one does. So instead of going through and putting a different exhaust system on it, they just said, let's just screw a piece on the end and call it a day. And I guarantee you that is why this thing is doing what it's doing. So we're going to make a new exhaust system for this thing. Alright guys, so we have, I think it's reading pretty much 0 now. The whole entire problem with these, and to be honest, you probably don't even need to seal anything. Just fix this. I made a new exhaust pipe. End up taking some scrap pieces that I had laying around, and then I used a little bit bigger piece to kind of get them together so I can have somewhere to weld all the way around it. And got the exhaust out to right out about this far from the back of it. And this thing, there's 0 inside the cab now. The whole entire problem with these is the fact that they just screwed on a piece of tailpipe to the actual heat shield itself, which obviously doesn't shoot all the exhaust out, and it's causing it to come out through the bottom all around the side of it and then fill this whole entire area up. So just fixing this, if you guys fix this, you're gonna save yourself a crap ton of time messing with anything else. I'll go ahead and I'll start it up for you and show you guys what the number is now, but this is the fix for it. Just get rid of that, take the 4 screws out, get rid of it, and weld yourself on a new, or any way you guys can do it. Just get yourself a new tailpipe on it that extends out. Now, it doesn't stick too far out, so I'll just have to be more mindful about stuff behind me, but be honest, it's not that far out. So I'll go ahead and start it up, and then I'll show you guys that, and then all I got to do is just pop this cover on, and luckily it already has a big hole, so it fits right through there. So I just got to pop that back on and pop that rear counterweight back on. So I'll go ahead and start right now. Alright, you guys can see it reading 0 right now, so I'll go ahead and kick the power on. So as you can see, the problem's completely fixed now. That was the whole entire issue, was just that. It was just that piece. So, but I did notice when I was running it for a little while, because I put the fan in there to try to solve this problem. The fan's actually making a big difference in the keeping the engine cooler too. So that's, I guess, a plus. And the other plus is the fact that there's not a lot of heat coming through here now, like there was. So it's not so hot inside the cab now. So doing the other stuff, I guess it wasn't pointless. It helped with some stuff basically. But the main thing is you've got to put an exhaust pipe on these things, because what they did from the factory is wrong. It should not be like this. Yeah, in certain situations, especially if you don't, biggest problem is you have this bolted here. Yeah, it's okay sometimes to have a gap because it's supposed to create I think the theory behind it is supposed to create like a vacuum and help keep blowing it out. The problem is if there's so much wind inside here, just for the fact that the engine itself, the fan on there on the flywheel spins and blows so much air in here that all it's doing is just grabbing it and yanking it out of here, and then this whole entire area inside here just becomes one big chamber. So doing this solves the whole entire issue. So hope this helps you guys. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you liked the video. Hit that like button, hit subscribe button, leave a comment down below what you guys think about that, how they did the exhaust on this thing. So thanks for watching.